we would continue studying and going to meetings, trying to do what's right. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's have the end come. It should be coming. They've been saying this for a while, and I think it was right around that time that they clarified the new information about this generation.
That's right. It was 2010, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Around that then?
Yeah.
And do you remember how you felt when you heard that information?
I do. I kind of, told him, oh, okay, and
yeah, that's how I felt.
You just accepted it,
It was like, oh, okay, new light, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember brothers and sisters, oh, you're so privileged to get all this new information. Mm-hmm. It's like, looking back on it, it's like, really? That's not good news.
Because it wasn't what we signed up for,
right,
remember?
Right.
I remember us saying, we didn't give it a lot of thought, but later after we had left.
Yeah, later after we left it and woke up, it just meant everything.
Yeah. Oh, it was kind of sealed the deal sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
then 2011 came, and we were still going on vacations because we like to vacation to Florida. We try to go every year.
Yeah.
And we were at the beach and in our hotel room, and they had, of course, Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So Sarah had her computer, and we were just looking up things, and
this sorry to interrupt, but this was the beginning of Facebook for us.
Yep.
We hadn't Facebook accounts, and I think I just got one.
Yep.
And Ryan's not really into all of that, but I was, trying to find people.
And we stumbled across an XJ Jehovah's Witness group.
Yeah, well, we stumbled across somebody that we used to know that grew up in our congregation.
In that group. Yes,
and he was in that group and very vocal about things that had happened to him. And we knew this kid, and we were like, oh my gosh, And of course, you guys, I had missed a lot of meetings at this point because our kids were still really small. And it was just easier for me just to stay home because I'm a homebody. I don't like to go out and about very often. And so there were some other things, though, that we came across, too. Oh, he said something about, wasn't it him that said something about checking out child molesters in your congregation?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do the criminalcheck.com.
Right.
And so Ryan,
we did that to find child molesters in our area.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, we found one that we sat next to at the congregation.
That's right. And believe me, he was our friend. Mm-hmm. And I really thought he was a nice person.
We had no idea.
No idea. And not to mention, not just him, because he was newly baptized. Mm-hmm. We also knew of an elder that we had taken out for hospitality after...
Former elder.
Yes.
Yeah, but he was still in.
Yes. And he had spent time in prison for molesting little girls. And so it hit us like a ton of bricks. And I remember before we started looking into all of this, I remember saying to Ryan, we shouldn't be doing this. Do you remember me saying that?
I do.
Because it just, I knew we were stumbling upon something, but I think too, I wanted to know the truth because I was on the outskirts. I was already feeling like, man, I don't need much of a reason to get me out of this organization. And that's what happened, is we found out about this brother that we had just had a picnic with, and I think he had our little girl on his lap, and she's 2 years old, and he wanted to hold her for a while. And I just remember thinking to myself, that's why he wanted to hold her. And I went in the bathroom and threw up. I threw up because I was so horrified. And that was it.
So needless to say, that trip was very eye-opening. We spent a lot of the time in the room just looking at link after link after link and finding out a ton of crap.
We found Barbara Anderson and Silent Lambs, Bill Bowen. We watched The Dateline, which we had skipped on purpose. I think that was a 2002 Dateline. about the child molestation issues.
Ray Franz.
We found Ray Franz.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, you guys. It's kind of too bad. We were staying right on the ocean. And I think we didn't spend much time on the ocean during that trip. We spent a lot of time just reading everything. And I'll tell you what, within one day, I was out. I remember going down to the beach. Ryan took the kids down to the beach. And I remember coming to him and saying, I'm done. When we get home, I'm done. And I didn't care what he thought. I was out. And, sorry.
So fasten your seatbelts, because from now on it's going to be a bumpy ride.
That's right. That is right. So.
Yeah, and everyone's got their own story and journey. Ours probably similar, but it wasn't pretty for a while, was it?
No. Ryan and I kind of ended up going our separate ways a little bit because when we got home, we got smartphones. And remember, this is 2011, so I was making all these friends on Facebook. I was joining all these ex-JW groups. I was learning the truth about the truth.
And you were always making an excuse to not go to the meeting.
No, I was done. And I was very much... I was very much out mentally, and I needed to figure out a way to get out and still be able to talk to my family. But I'm such a loudmouth, I couldn't keep it to myself. I was telling everybody. And your poor mother, who is very devout, I'm sure that woman, she was just so upset. But she would come into our house and just in tears and beg me just to reconsider. And I was like, no, this happened, and I believe it. And so Ryan and I really grew apart because he was still he knew the information, but he didn't know it to the extent that I did, because I did a lot of research.
I definitely wasn't woke up yet. I was looking for reasons to excuse it all.
Yeah.
Still indoctrinated, still not ready to throw in the towel yet. Mm-hmm. Of course, my mother, who I'm close with, of course.
Very persuasive.
Yeah, very persuasive. And I wanted our kids, of course, to live forever.
Well, right.
Sounds funny now.
It does sound so funny. That. But so 2011 was definitely, I would say, one of the worst years of my life, because so much happened, and Ryan and I definitely grew apart. And I was off doing my own thing and trying to find out what I was going to do with my life, because I knew in the back of my mind that Ryan might not want to be married to me anymore. So,
it got bumpy.
It did.
So, it wasn't a very fun time. We used to always just hang out. Well, I didn't really feel like hanging out that much, so I was out shopping or doing whatever, hanging out somewhere else. Of course, Sarah was home taking care of the kids, and it just didn't take long. And as my mom would say, Satan presented a girl to me, and I messed up. I'll admit it. Maybe lonely, maybe wanted the camaraderie, I don't know. But anyways, I messed up, and it got a little sticky from there on. I did admit it to Sarah, and then we had a subsequent elders meeting, and I was reproved. But even before that, the elders would come by a couple times for a visit, because they caught wind of the situation. And they tried to bring Sarah to her senses and encourage us both. And 2 or 3 visits they came over, and we would present them with information we found and such, and they weren't having it. They didn't want to hear about it. And then I dropped that bomb on them too, and they had to meet with me. And they liked me for some reason.
Well, this was the thing. I certainly didn't know what to do, because our children were like 4 and 2 years old, 3 and 5 years old. And I didn't know how I was going to take care of them because I hadn't worked, and we lived right next door to an elder and then right in front of his parents. So like, where was I going to go? And so I decided, okay, well, let's try to make this marriage work even after everything that happened. But in my heart, I thought maybe we can get him disfellowshipped and then we can just get the hell out of this organization. And he didn't want to go to the brothers because he didn't want everybody to know about it. And understandably, and let's be honest, that was between us. Why did we have to bring in all these other people? It was our problem, not everyone else's problem, okay? I mean, maybe a marriage counselor, but not these men, and certainly not everyone who ended up finding out because people talked. But what I wanted was for them to look at the situation and go, you totally screwed up and now you're disfellowshipped. But they did. They liked him and they just reproved him. And at that point I was like completely shocked, because how could that have happened? And they kept saying that they had Jehovah's Spirit. And I mean, I'm still angry about it to this day, because there was someone sitting on that elder's body who it was his first elders meeting, and he was so horrified that the brothers let Ryan just kind of walk out the door with a slap on the wrist over that. He couldn't believe it from what I heard second. So yeah, he was a new elder. It was his first judicial meeting, and this is what he gets to hear. And I only know about this because this elder was family to me, and I ended up hearing about it. And so of course that was embarrassing, because now everyone was talking about us. And so and of course Ryan's mother kept coming and trying to talk to me, and I told her point blank, I said, Jehovah's Spirit is not with this organization. You know what happened, and yet nothing happened. Like I know what their reasoning was. If we disfellowship Ryan, this family, we have 4 people who are gone from our numbers. They're gone. And they're never going to come back if we disfellowship him. So they let him stay. So guess what I did? I went next door with a letter of disassociation, because I was done. I was so upset.
But even before that, though, the full court...
I'm getting ahead of myself.
The full court press was kind of on me now. They reproved me, and now it's like, I'll give him all the encouragement I can to get to the meetings, bring the kids, and not only that, but Ryan, you've got to get control of your wife. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Yep, I got to readjust that woman.
Yeah, that was a funny story, because because they were over there to talk to me, and we had a brother there that was agreeing with a lot of the points that I was bringing up. And I won't get into all that, but you guys, I had a stack of paper, remember that?
Yes.
I have it still, a stack of paper of all the research I did. And I would show him points, and he agreed with, I would say, 80-90% of it. And then my daughter was running around, needed to be changed. She was still in diapers, so I got up to take care of that. And that's when they said, get a hold of her. Get control of her. If you guys know who I am, there's none of that. It's not going to happen. Wild horses couldn't do it.
It must only been about 2 weeks or maybe even a month before they said, okay, we want to meet with her, and just to see where she's at. And that's when it kind of all came out on March 21st of 2012. You want to
V-Day.
bring that story out?
That was
Liberation Day.
That was the day that what was happening is Ryan's mom was beating down our door constantly, and I just couldn't take it anymore. She knew where I stood, and she wanted me back, and I bless her heart. I know her heart was in the right place, and that it's broken, but I was done. I know too much. So I went next door to the elder, and I gave him my letter, and he wouldn't take it. He said, no, I'm not taking that. And I pushed it at him, and he closed the door on me. He would not take that letter from me. I was so done. So we ended up having an elders meeting, and so I went in, and I didn't want to talk. I just wanted to hand them my letter and be done with it, because I was so out. I'd been out for a year mentally. And before that, I had doubts. I was done. And but Ryan was still in. And I walked in, I gave him my letter. There was one brother that he was just a nice brother, and the other two were just disgusted. You could just see the, you know. So I walked out of there and I called one of my apostate friends and I said, it's done. And she's like, yay. And then I called Ryan, and I don't know what you felt. I don't know that you were happy.
Just a mixed bag, probably. I mean, half of me was kind of wishing I could be out too, but I wasn't seeing that for myself at that time. And then my mom was just push, and you know, the kids, and I knew I didn't want to be single. You have the split up, raising the kids that way. So I tried to make everyone happy, and I couldn't do it for very long at all. I remember having a conversation with you though. Says, I just feel that 100 years, 1914 to 2014, if the end hasn't come by 2014, then give me till that year. 100 years, you know.
Yeah, I remember.
It's got to be here by then, you know. It's just got to. So I tried to hang on, and I still believed enough of it to be able to go to the meetings, but the stuff that I did find out was just wearing on me. And the thing that most weared on me was this generation. I just started thinking about that over and over again, and it just, every time I thought about it, didn't make any sense. Couldn't back it up by scripture, and that was probably what did me in eventually. But I was still trying to hang on, going to the meetings, trying to continue. For a while, I didn't make it to quite make it to 2014, but I think it was the fall assembly of 2013 where I just said, I'm done. I just woke up one day, said I can't do this no more, and I was supposed to go to the assembly and I didn't go, and I didn't make another meeting since then.
Right. And for just to keep it real short, because I know our battery's about to run out, but we ended up moving from that house that we lived in. And we actually still owned our condominium, and it was being rented. Yep. And we switched with our renters, and they were thrilled with the place. But we got away enough because living in that house was so toxic. And
they were Jehovah's Witnesses too, so that's another story. That's another video.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could not live at that place no longer in front of my mom and the elder next door.
No.
So we did switch and moved into the house, to our condo, which now we are living in a different place other than that.
Right.
Same city, but different place.
And we did
much happier now.
Yes, and we did want to get a different place. We were thinking we would move to a different town so Ryan could just kind of fade away and not have to deal with the repercussions. And I think because of your family and who they are in the congregation, they've left Ryan pretty much alone.
Yeah.
Even though they see me, I have put up Christmas lights and Christmas tree, and they've only visited our house one time that we know of, and they tried to get you to study again or come back or something like that. And Ryan just wouldn't even make eye contact. I was just kind of stunned by how it all went down.
But they've allowed me to successfully fade, probably because my mom being so devout, knowing that it might ruin her. But that's subject to change now.
Yeah.
So.
And again, I mean, it is kind of like the truth. This is the truth of what our lives were like. This is where we are. So I want to say 2013, Ryan's stopped going, and now it's 2020. And so for 6.5, 7 years, we have had to make new friends. We've had to learn to forgive each other for the things that we did to each other. I think we're stronger than ever. I really do. I mean, I just love him so much, and he's my best friend.
I remember we used to fight a lot when we were in the organization over
Yeah.
a lot of different things. Now we don't fight hardly at all.
Hardly at all.
It's much better, much happier.
Yeah.
No, hardly any pressure to do more, do more,
Right.
more for the truth.
Right. I mean, yeah, it was the pressure that the Jehovah's Witnesses put on couples is insurmountable. I think that's what breaks them up in a lot of ways, because they want the husband to be in control, like they said, get control of your wife, the elders. And it's far easier when the husband doesn't lord that over, not, that word lord, full circle. When the husband's not doing that to the wife, she doesn't feel like so, I don't know, suppressed, and she can just be who she is, and I don't know. So I guess this is a good spot to end our video, because that's essentially where we are at this point. We really appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully, you enjoyed it and will like our video and subscribe to this channel, because I'm sure we're going to have some other things to tell you about. We have lots of little stories
Yep.
about very interesting people, like I'm sure you guys had in your congregation, and we've also got some new developments that we hope you guys will tune in and listen to about our families and what's happening with that.
So we'd appreciate it if you gave us a like.
Yeah.
And also subscribe, and look forward to future videos.
Yeah. So we'll talk to you guys later. Oh, and if you have any comments, please leave them below, and we'll try to get back with them if there's any questions for us. And maybe we can do another video about that. So,
Cool.
all right.
Thank
Talk to
you.
you later.
Bye.
Bye.